Rosie knows an idiot when she sees one. Does she?
I was just cutting the grass under the window there, if you follow me.
A little late for trimming the verge, don't you think?
If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been.
So why are we calling this Sam the best bud? Well, if you've read The Lord of the Rings, what you'll find is, as the story starts, Sam is not referred to as Frodo's friend. In fact, Merry and Pippin, I did a little research, and Merry and Pippin in the first few chapters are called both Frodo's special friends and Frodo's best friends. And one of the only references to Sam as a friend was at the end of Return of the King, when Frodo calls Sam friend of friends. But that's only after they've been through everything. This is in Mordor. And so what we have instead is this Sam who becomes Frodo's buddy, the guy who he just hangs out with, which is completely different than what Tolkien wrote. Sam is Frodo's gardener. And in the film, is that even made clear? When I rewatched it, I was like, wait, they never even said, did they even say he's the gardener, right? And so that's why he calls Frodo master all the time. And when Frodo and Merry and Pippin are out on their hike to Rivendell, so to speak, Sam's kind of the one who gets the food cooked and gets the water and things like that. And so what Peter Jackson did is for better or worse, he turned Sam from a master servant kind of relationship into a best buds kind of relation. They're the guys who grew up together and they hung out together, and now they're going to go on an adventure together. And so that's really where this change comes from. Yeah, the question then becomes: is this something people could swallow now as using master? I mean, does he say Master Frodo in the movies? I think so.
A couple times. Yeah.
Does he say? He says Mr. Frodo a lot. But
I think he does refer to him as master in Mordor at least once or twice. So,
okay.
or Cirathungel once. Anyway, I didn't count. I didn't do the official count, but it does do it, but very, very little. It's not emphasized. Agree. There's, and to my mind, this is really a change in emphasis there. So here's where I think this change is being overdone by those who are pointing it out as a change. Sam is Frodo's friend. Sam is also Frodo's servant. This is not an abnormal thing in British society. Mm-hmm. As Exhibit A, I offer for those who have read it, hopefully, or those who have seen it at least, the Jeeves and Wooster series by P.G. Wodehouse. This is an example of how master and servant, in fact, in the Jeeves and Wooster, this is by Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie in the cinematic versions, the television versions. The butler Jeeves is in fact he's the smarter of the two. He's the one who wears the pants in the relationship, so to speak. And I'm not talking about anything sexual. I'm just talking about he's the one that drives the bus when it comes to the plot and getting and fixing things and everything else. So from the British perspective, the master-servant relationship is nothing like master-servant in America. So I see this as a bow via Hollywood to American sensitivity. Yeah. I see this as like we can't use the word master itself as a bad word. Like apparently now
can't have master bedrooms.
So not even any master bedrooms anymore apparently. Whereas this is just it does not compute to the British. And I agree with you. Merry and Pippin are Frodo's peers, and they are his friends from a peerage perspective. Sam is of a lower class. In the sense that he's Frodo's. Now the whole gardener thing, I think that's been overdone. Sam references specifically he was cutting the grass, and Gandalf makes a comment about trimming the verge. That's clear. Like that's the only reason he would be doing that is if he's the gardener. So it's clear he's the gardener. But they don't emphasize it, and they don't emphasize the servant relationship. Although they show it sometimes, like Sam's carrying the stuff all the time, and so he's doing the manual labor, and then in the in the second movie he does do the cooking, outside in Ithilien. So in Ithilien, rather Ithilien, not Ithilien, Ithilien. So there's a I just think this is an emphasis change. They changed the emphasis and they emphasize their friendship. They are indeed friends. There is no doubt about that. and there is no contradiction in that either, according to the exemplar that Tolkien is referencing when he's talking about the master-servant relationship.
Agreed. All right, so let's jump into the questions then. Is it lore friendly? I'll go first on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. I think it's actually fine. I think they're friends. They're not best buds, though. They're not. The relationship that Merry and Pippin have with Frodo is more of an acute friendship in the books than it is in the films. Certainly, with how they're portrayed in the films, it would be completely different because they're nowhere near as mature as Frodo. But I think having him as a friend is lore friendly, and it's close enough that I'm not negative about this one.
So I'm with you as well. Not much change here between us. Sorry to disappoint, but it is for the exact reasons you said. It is lore friendly. It's just a matter of emphasis rather than change, in my mind.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. So let's get on to the next question, which is the change necessary for cinema? You go first, Michael. We'll keep trading off.
The change is this is a tough one. Mm-hmm. Is it necessary for cinema? Technically, no, but it's necessary. But with the international audience, it might be necessary.
Let's assume that's part of cinema.
Okay. So with the international audience, is it necessary? Is the emphasis
this
necessary?
Is hard. I know this is a hard one too.
To do what they're trying to do and show the friendship between the two, I think the master-servant emphasis would have detracted from the friendship if you had emphasized that. And so I will say, yes, it is necessary for cinema.
Okay. I'm halfway between both of them. I could say either yes or no. So I'm going to go with no, and here's why. It's necessary for cinema because of how they changed Merry and Pippin, I think. If they had made them less of what we'll get into the next episode, which is the pranksters, then I don't think you'd have to make Sam as much of a best bud, close friend. Now, you could show the relationship develop as the books does as they go on the journey together to destroy the ring. But I don't think that this idea that they're the guys that grew up together, that hang out and have beers together, that smoke together, right? I don't think that was the way to necessarily begin the relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, and I agree with you with the clips part, but I would say that the emphasis, like their relationship across the movies, is not represented by those minor clips. That's the intro, which I agree those are not necessary for cinema, but I do think they're going to lose. They're going to confuse a large amount of the international audience by emphasizing the master-servant relationship. I think it's a very British thing that is not really very applicable across any culture outside of Britain.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, I could go either way, but I think there's an argument to be made that it's not completely necessary for cinema either.
And now our numbers are back to being the same again.
Oh, dang it! Shoot. I just can't be the one. All right. So, how much do you like the change? You go first this time, Michael.
Emphasis wise, I like the emphasizing friendship. 4.5.
Right. 4.5. Wow.
Yep. I think it's strong because I think the whole point is to emphasize friendship between the two and to build that into something which makes the sacrifices in Mordor and at the edge of Mordor believable. Now there are a bunch of changes they made to the end of Mordor Cirith Ungol that I hate, but this emphasizing of the friendship is a strong one. I like it.
4.5. I'm not going to be that high. And this is
You're not supposed to be comparing to me. You're supposed to just be telling me.
No, I'm not comparing to you. I just know that's my starting point. I know I'm not going to be that high. I'm trying to figure out, okay. I'm going to go 3.5. I'm just my purest side comes out and says, like, I would like to see what Tolkien wrote rather than.
So you're more than neutral then. You like it more than.
Well, I think it was acted so well, and I think it does help the relationship from the start develop into the close bond that they had that spawned so much fiction from fans that shouldn't have been spawned. However,
Sure.
yeah, I mean, I like, here's the thing: is this isn't one of those changes where I looked at it and went like, ew, like Elrond, even like Merry and Pippin. I think that's not a change that I'm going to.
And I'll
stake
tell
my
you, the origin of the
life on.
4.5 has largely to do with the fact that I didn't even see this as a change until it was pointed out. And for me, because I do notice
Wow.
changes, it was pointed out, and then I realized, no, they're right. It isn't a change in emphasis. And so I didn't notice, but I caught some of the references to Sam being a servant. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like they don't mention that at all. Like that,
No.
as if he and Frodo are equally bearing all burdens. No, I'm aside from the ring. They don't do that. They do keep him in this sort of subservient role in that in relationship.
Mhm.
So I just didn't even notice the emphasis until it was pointed out. And the fact that I didn't notice it means that I must have liked it a decent amount. So anyway, there we go.
Or maybe you just
There's-
watched. It was too late at night, and you had a long day at work, and you forgot to actually notice it. Maybe that was the other thing.
Maybe I'm not a purist enough. That's right.
All right, there you have it. What do you guys think? Put your comments below about like, is this is one of the first changes that I think is like this and the Gandalf one, right? Like, I'm sure you guys have opinions, and a lot of you are going to disagree, as we discussed far earlier if you listen to the whole podcast. So
We love it.
yeah, and if you
agree,
and if you do have changes, don't forget you can submit them at theonering.com/changes, and we will add them to our list.